Hello and welcome to probably the one I'm the most excited about in the entire marathon. Today we are playing a game by my friend DemoReel System. They're a cool D&D system of hundreds of friends, and they make awesome games as part of Pedestal Games and also Team MelinPie. And I don't actually know very much about them. I just know I really love my friend and I support their games, but they're all in fandoms that I don't really know about. This one we're playing today, RinoBuro lovingly Infodump, is apparently a crossover between Touhou and Final Fantasy XIV, which are both games I haven't played, and I think Team Fruit Tart is part of this guy on streams. What's his name again? Picaspre, team that makes for cool hacks and stuff for his live streams. They are a branched off team from Team MelinPie, which is another group. I'm not sure precisely what they do, but apparently there was a disagreement with the lead of the previous team having some toxic behaviour. So basically my buddy is super talented and works for so many different teams and groups and everythings. And I always feel like, I can't join in on this because I'm not part of these fandoms. I don't really understand it, but I love hearing them infodump about it, which is why I'm really happy to play this particular game. I wanted to play one of their games for the marathon, and they said this one is one of the most accessible ones for people who don't actually know about the fandoms, because it's mostly just like a character study on like a ship they really love. And like, I love infodumping with my friend. I love hearing infodumps from my friend. The entire point of wanting to play a game from my friend is like, I just love hearing them infodump about these things I know nothing about, and I will support them to the ends of the earth. And DemoReel is like one of my closest buddies in the universe. They are the Juice Batman. I don't know if I've said this story before on the channel, but we actually first met as friends because I was going through a really tough time. I was like in recovery for like severe mental health stuff going on, residential home. You know, one of those times when you're having a day when like everything is so bad, like one little tiny thing is what puts you over the edge to having a big old crying fit. For me, like obviously the reason I was actually sad is because, I'm not used to being in a residential home and I'm scared and there's a bunch of strangers. But I ended up just panicking and like venting online, like, oh my god, I haven't quite got enough change to buy juice, and it's like the last thing on top of everything in the day is like I wanted to go and walk down and buy juice so I'd have an excuse to like get out of the home for a second and like have a little bit of fresh air and a little sense of like I can control one thing in my life even if everything else is really regular. Orange and mango juice, that was it. That was the one that Demo recommended to me on that day. I had never even talked to them before. I was following their stuff for a little while before that because they made like a really cool comic on Tumblr at the time, so I was like a fan of their art, but I'd never really got the courage to actually talk to them before. And like the first actual interaction we had was just like them seeing me having a big stupid panic over juice, and they were like, I will lend you the money for the juice, and I was like, I will follow you to the ends of the earth for the rest of my life, my friend. And anyway, that's why their nickname is Juice Batman on our Discord server. That was all entirely irrelevant to what we're doing today, but this is an example of what this game is about. It's about info dumping random fun anecdotes between friends, or in this case between two characters who are in love, who are from two different fandoms, and presumably the game will be like all about teaching about those two different fandoms and like fun interesting references and stuff. Because that's the reason why I'm hyped, because I'm close friends with the person making this, and because they said they've really loved my Cherry Tree High video, they made like an art book behind the scenes type Google Doc, which they've instructed me to read after I finish playing. I don't know yet exactly what cool information will be in there, but stuff about the characters, stuff about the behind the scenes things, and apparently a list of every single reference in the game. So that's what I'm going to do while I'm playing. I'm going to challenge myself to see if there's any references I can actually notice, and then go back and compare that against the list at the end and laugh at the ones I probably missed that was super obvious. Heck, I might come out the end of this like as a total expert about Touhou and MMOs. So just a heads up, all I know going in, these two guys on the title screen are presumably Rinosuke and Baront. I think I recognise the one on the left is Rinosuke because of like the proxy avatars on our Discord. And from looking on the information on the download page itself, this is based on a previous fan game of some kind called the Iron of Yin and Yang, which crossed over these two characters. I don't know if they're like canonically gay in that fan game too, or if this is like a headcanon on top of a headcanon on top of a headcanon, but I really support just the overall idea of just making fan games about the characters you love. Like, this is like my dream of what I want to make for an Rpgmaker game. Like, obviously not this specific shit, but like I'd love to make something like this for Dr. Snap, just a game like a day in the life of Dr. Snap. This really inspired me and made me want to go. I was thinking like, I'll make one snappy day and it'll be something kind of like this. Once I figure out what on earth the gameplay is or anything, I'll shove the inspiration into my brain and think of my own ideal super game idea, and just I'm already hyped about it. Yay. And the one other thing I know is that Demo warned me that the game is incomplete and it's going to stay incomplete. It was originally planned to be completed, but something happened behind the scenes, which means that this is the final version of the game. There are a few problems with certain people leaving the team partway through, so Demo had to end up like mostly finishing up the work on their own. And I said that apologetically as a reason why there'll be like a lack of certain things, which I don't know if I'd even would have noticed if I went in there without knowing. But bearing that in mind, if I ever see like any incomplete areas in the game, I know the reason behind it, so I'm not going to judge it unfairly for that. And also just the fact it's a game jam game. Already the assets are looking really impressive for a game jam game. That's one thing I really admire about Demo is they are an absolute workaholic, and I feel so like frustrated sometimes seeing like their friends don't like give them enough appreciation for how much work they do, because they do so much art. They're like, so often it's like, oh, I had to do this because no one else could do this, I had to do that, and then like I've worked all day for like 5,000 days and I can't afford to do anything else, and buddy, if you're watching, I really appreciate what you do, and I hope someday everybody else does too. So to end that circular rambling about how much I love this game, I am now going to play this game and love this game. But obvious disclaimer, I'm not going to give the game an unfair ranking just because my friend played it. I am going to still try and give like constructive criticism where I can. If I see something I don't like, I won't be dishonest about it, I'll just be polite about it because obviously it's my friend. I probably won't have uploaded it by the time I'm showing this, but I did do another review of a friend's game, which I didn't actually enjoy, and I was honest about that. That's just proof that I'm not being biased. If I say this game is great, it's because I genuinely feel it's great. Because I have played a game by a friend and I had to regretfully tell him that I didn't like certain things, and yeah. But I'll never be cruel to my friends, and I'll never just say I hate it without any constructive criticism behind it. I want to make this video just as fun for you as it is for me making it. And I love you, and I cherish you, and you're my buddy, and I hope you have fun. Now I will go and have fun! There are options in the title menu I didn't see saying who is Baron. He's also particularly notorious for having bad spelling, particularly of people's names. Oh! Okay. Roll that back, it's not a flaw in any way, it was intentional. I did this into earlier in the video. I originally commented thinking these spelling mistakes were, well, a mistake when they happen. I'm going to be editing around that in the video, but just for reference, I only noticed this menu option here at 2 hours into the game. I'll leave in my funny reaction when we get there. So here we go, and the first thing I'm noticing, and I don't know if I'm going crazy, it's been so common a problem in so many games in the marathon, is the music is really quiet. The sound effects are perfectly fine volume, we can barely hear the music, and for one, I really know how detailed the settings are, but also, it says it's at the highest volume, and like this is even when I've lowered the volume for all the sound effects, they still sound so much louder than the music. And I don't know if it's an issue with my computer because it's been happening with several games, and like I don't know, maybe it's just a compatibility issue with like Windows 11, but I can't find any way of like changing like your overall settings, like if it's like an overall volume for every Rpgmaker game. So I'm just gonna try it like on my end, like ramp my music up really high, and then if the sound effects end up being like deafening, I can always go back in here and change them. So I'm gonna preemptively say I don't know if it's an error with the game itself. I'll have to ask my friend for feedback on whether other people have had this happen. Yeah, I've had to ramp up my volume to like around 50%. I usually keep it on like 20% because of how incredibly loud my computer is, which is why it's so baffling how quiet this is. How loud was that sound effect? Okay, 50% sound effect, 40% sound effects. This is what I have to do to deal. I talked with Demo and this is confirmed, not a problem on my end. It was difficulty using this particular plugin and not knowing that you could set the default volume for things to be different. Because the music was a unique asset, it turned out the default volume was lower than all the stock sounds for sound effects. And if they'd known how to, Demo would have made it so the game just starts with half sound effects. But yeah, I was going to say, really good how comprehensive the settings are, which is very rare to find in an Rpgmaker game. And especially how you can remap the keyboards. I don't need to do that because it's got the Z and X, which is my preferred control scheme. But it's really good to know that so many we've done in the marathon have been like, what the fuck button do they expect you to press? And no idea. And this one, it can be whatever the hell you want. But one thing I did notice is that you can use the mouse controls, but then when you click on here, the mouse controls don't let you click on any of the options. Like I'm currently trying to click on like if turning always dash back off again. The mouse controls work on clicking the categories, like you cannot click any of the options within the categories. So that's a strange oversight. We haven't played many in the marathon which have had a fully working mouse control system except Space Pilgrim. But I am going to be adding 1,000 points for having always dash because I always use always dash. Let's go! That's what my friend was saying about how, The game does start with saying it's unfinished and it will be finished later, but it will not be finished later because things didn't go as planned. And apparently that'll be explained more in the Google Doc at the end of the game with development info, so we'll wait until that. Before I set my timer, I am going to have to be fair and compare it against the same things I've said against other games. It does always take you a little bit out of the immersion to start with like an out-of-character tutorial explaining directly from the developer. But in the case of this, where it's a game jam game that is already like has a friendly, lovely tone, it's not trying to be serious or immerse you in a story. It is just like, you know from the start, this is a slice of life, a day in the life of like this person's favourite characters just doing fun stuff. I would say this doesn't super matter as a flaw. You've really got to take into account, like, depending on the genre of the game, certain things can be like bad or not bad. Note, this game is about a couple of info-dumping motor mouths who don't know how to shut up. If you plan to read this aloud, I recommend getting a glass of water or something. I have lime Coca-Cola, which I've never tried before, and I'm trying it now. It tastes nothing like lime, and I can tell why it was on discount. It's the height of summer, and Rainbow's getting everybody together for a big party in a few days. Something to celebrate solving a recent incident, or something to that effect. These days, those things aren't at the forefront of my mind, though. What matters most to me is my cool boyfriend and info-dumping about our hobbies together, hooray! And teaching Bonford about 2 game franchises. Ooh! Unique sprite style! Hell yeah! Now this, I think, is what my friend was warning me about, is the sprites were originally going to be made by a different member of a team, but Demo themselves had to rush and finish them because that person, I don't know the circumstances of why they had to leave, but they had to leave, and then Demo was kind of like, oh god, now I have to do like literally everything myself, because like this wasn't a one-person game jam, it was supposed to be part of a team, but then things happened with a team, and then it was not a team, and then it was Demo, and then it was So yeah, if I hadn't known that, I probably would have mentioned about how, oh, it seems strange that the sprites don't have any form of shading, but I also probably wouldn't have thought it was bad. I would have just gone like, oh, that's an interesting style they're going for, because everything in the whole screen has no sort of shading, except like, you can see like little shadows under these boxes and stuff. It is a bit dissonant in a strange way, but I don't think it like looks bad or anything. It looks like definitely like a stylistic choice to have like these realistic shadows rather than like pixelated shadows. But definitely it does feel like, yeah, this is made by someone who isn't as familiar with making sprites and was rushing and like, hi, I was supposed to just doing a portrait, so I have no idea what's going on. But I love the detail they always put into their environments when they make them. I always love whenever they show off a new piece of art and I have to like look everywhere for the little references. Well, I can notice the Ace flag over there, and that is, I don't know if that's Monopoly or Game of Life. That's a Game Boy. That's some kind of book, and I'm not sure what it's from. It kind of vaguely reminds me of the one from Gravity Falls, but it's clearly not. And there's a little character and a mushroom on the shelf. I wonder how many references I've missed in this screen alone. But I do really love what they're going with a sprite style. I love those like wide-faced eyes. I do wonder what it would have looked like if the original person was able to finish it. Like how much of these sprites it was made by them and how much was made by Demo. I'm really intrigued. I wonder if that'll be in the Google Doc. But yeah, praise number 1, I do really like a really detailed environment with lots of stuff to inspect. I wonder if there'll be flavor text in every single thing. Anyway, RinoBuro, actually, I was going to mention, I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing these characters' names right because I'm not familiar with the franchises, so feel free to call me out on that in the comments, Demo. RinoBuro says, so that's why Yukari is banned from my store for at least a week. By the way, have I mentioned how much I really like this font, actually? I haven't really commented on any of the fonts in any of the games, except I did like the one in Weird and Unfortunate Things. It's just so infrequently you actually notice a font being good, so I gotta say, this is really good. And what font is this? Because I really, really like it and I want to use it. I like the little wiggly ends. By the way, have I mentioned how much I love your outfit? It makes a nice change for your paladin regalia, which, whilst lovely and fitting of a man of your caliber, must be hellish in this heat. And oh, is that the paladin job symbol from Final Fantasy? I do know that because my other friend Nova on the mutual Discord we're on linked me a video essay about all the different job class icons for Final Fantasy XIV and why some of them are totally shit and look like weird croissants. Your current outfit is much better for the summer. It gives you a chance to show off your rather fine physique. They have such a sassy dynamic already. Paladins of my standing know how to gracefully accept compliments, so thank you kindly. Your outfit is very nice as well, honest. I'm not sure if that's meant to be, like, he says honest under his breath, or it's like a tone indicator. I would say that I'm a little bit confused by some of the formatting on the text so far. I haven't seen, like, a full stop at the end of anything. I don't know if that's meant to, like, symbolize the fact that they're rambling on because they're info dumping, or if it was just a genuine mistake. Or just a different way this is going for. Because I do like using tone indicators while talking online, but I've only ever seen them with a forward slash rather than in brackets. Well, your undershirt is still covering most of your arms. Isn't that way too warm? Except that I know... quotation marks blank? Is it supposed to be in brackets? Does that mean how you pronounce it? So is that like a name of a character who doesn't have a name? Because again, I don't know too much about Touhou, but I do know that they're all like yokai and cryptids and mysterious interdimensional beings. So it totally would make sense that someone has a name that's just like a blank void. Except I know blank about how things work. I just assume you're comfortable this way and move on humbly. Tends to be better to keep myself covered up, especially on my arms and legs. As pale as I am, I could very easily get sunburned, and sun lotion hasn't slipped through the barrier in quite some time. That's a cool bit of world building. I'm already getting a vague grasp of what the Touhou's is. Oh, actually, is this in the Touhou world? Is this in the Final Fantasy world? I'm assuming because there's like technology and stuff, that I don't think that's part of Final Fantasy. Well, if it's a crazy fusion world, it could be anything. But just what I'm getting from his text box is like a half fantasy, half like modern day fusion world, or is it like a place in the between dimensions where things from any world can come in, so you might see like every type of technology from different places? In addition, I have my own secrets to keep, I'm sure you understand. Gay secrets? No, that's pretty obvious. I can already tell how much they're in love. Main character types like me always have their secrets, so I understand. One day I hope you can trust me well enough to open up to me, but it is decisively obvious that patience is important. Okay, I'm getting a sense of their personalities. Baron, whoever you are, I'm getting the idea that you are like a knightly person. Even if he hadn't said paladin, I would be getting that. You are some kind of knightly person who is like, you're both kind of fancy and verbose, which I guess is the whole concept of the game, is these are just people who are really fun to listen to them talk to each other. But I'm getting that you are more like maybe a pompous, maybe like a super like holy knight and like really into like a shonen hero type, but also really fancy. And in Rinosuke, I'm getting a vibe of like stony faced, serious, grumpy tsundere, but then he's strangely honest about how like his romance and how hot he thinks he is, and it's really endearing in its own little way. Luckily, as a knight, I possess the patience of a saint, and enough of me is hearing you talk, no matter the subject. That's how I feel about my friends. It's great fun to talk to you, but I'll admit that I'm always best at conversation and have an item to study, thanks to my ability. Oh, is that your magic power? Oh, so it's actually like an in-universe justification for why we're doing an info-dumping game. Truly, it is one of the more fun things for me to do with my time. And when I talk to you, I do feel like I could go on forever and you'd never get bored. Love. I am just noticing that there are 2 stray pixels on both of their hair on the sprite. It's kind of funny how it matches. Even in the world of glitches, they are in love. That's because it's true. Not to boast, but one of the biggest highlights of my day nowadays is coming here and chilling out. No more back-to-back incidents, no more worrying, no more Riamo chasing me down for rent I don't have. Coming here so often is helping Bronco too, I'm sure you've noticed. Oh, is that the other person in the corner? Is that Riamo or is that Bronco or is that Raymo from the opening cutscene? There is someone sleeping on a little bed and I didn't notice because of text box. See, my first instinct when hearing that was Buko from Super Pig.
Once was a tale of a little girl turning into a pig. Einst verwandelte ein Mädchen mit nem Schwank sich in ein Schwein. Questa è la storia di una ragazzina trasformatasi. Super Pig! Super Pig!
I know Demo makes obscure references, but I don't think that's quite what that is. I'm very glad that I can be there for the both of you, especially now of all times, when the thing you need the most is an understanding equal, such as myself. I like this vibe. He's like slightly boastful and egotistical, but in like a really supportive way. It makes me feel like this guy has like had like a redemption arc like off screen, like he started off very cold and like didn't open up to anyone, but then he found his true love. He reminds me vaguely of the idea of like how I've seen Byakuya Togami written in like redemption fics. The past while has been a huge strain on both you and... Wait a second! He's the guy who had a post box on his abs! Instead of a skirt, it's like 2 sleeveys. A regular shirt patterned to look like Conan the Barbarian. Ring pulls on the shoulders, and he slapped a post box onto his abs. The red toolbox that Wallace has in Wallace and Gromit, the first one. Demo recommended them for my old friend or farewell series, like the last long series I did before this. I gave like my funny character design opinions on random characters from things I've never played. I'm glad to finally find him and learn the lore about him. I much prefer this outfit for him. The past while has been a huge strain on both you and Baronco, so please feel free to stay here in Corindo as long as you wish. Perhaps we could pass the time by talking about your rather large inventory. Say I interact with an object in here, you tell me about what it is and its purpose, and maybe a bit of a story too. I'm telling the audience the exact premise! Again, things that are better in one genre than another. Like, I wouldn't say it's like a meta game, like, I guess, like, off or one-shot or anything. It's kind of like a playful, fun game with, like, an in-joke with the audience, and it's like, it makes sense for the creator to be just communicating with the audience so clearly like this. I do worry a little when I'm doing the random Rpgmaker. Do people think I'm a hypocrite when I complain about a thing in one game but not another? And it really does just depend on, one, what the genre is, and two, is it done good or bad? And I think it's done pretty good here. It's like, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's in character, it's not just, oh, the bloody Stargazer game where it's just like, hi, I'm the tutorial, this is your main character, this is his personality. Go for this long mandatory sequence. Here is the obligatory merchant, go over there and purchase one sword. Honestly, I'd really like that. There isn't much I know better than my own wares after all. I'm trying to develop a voice for them, but I keep mixing up which is which because there's no character portraits on screen. So yeah, as a minor constructive criticism I would give, like, maybe colour the colour of the name and the text boxes, maybe, so you can tell, like, at a glance which one is which, or maybe have a text box flip from, like, the left to the right, because, like, I would assume, like, if it was on the right, it's Baront, which I think is, the dark-skinned one. Honestly, I'd really like that. There isn't much I know better than my own wares, after all. And I certainly have stories to tell, be they older ones, or even ones about the previous incident. I wonder if that's one of the previous Game Jam games they did, because I don't know the deeper lore but behind, like, A, the Touhou universe, and B, the specific Touhou universe in these Game Jams and what's happened before and all that. I wouldn't be able to tell if things were different from the original games, but I'm already curious. When it's settled, today nobody will be able to say you talk too much, and what are you even trying to say? Because I will listen to every word carefully and understand it all, as a knight who is in a league of their own should. I love this, like, hammy, bombastic man who cares so much about his lovers, like, random facts about things in the house. Wonderful, you're welcome to take as much time as you please. And then he turns and he goes, ooh. I would say the walk speed is a little too fast. You can't actually see the arms and legs move a little bit as you walk. So I originally thought, like, was I sliding without my arms and legs actually moving? Oh, that could be my fault because I put Always Dash on. But I don't know how much of an environment we're exploring. If we are just exploring one room and talking to things, then that might have been, yeah, okay. The animation looks way better if I don't do that was entirely my own fault. I'm going to talk to whoever this is, but I'm curious about you in a bit. No, I'm going to talk to my boyfriend again first immediately. Hello, Baront-san, how can I help you? You can hug and kiss! You can kiss and hug, yes! Oh, hug sounds lovely, thank you. Oh, there's no animation for it. Understandable because, again, the limitations of the Game Jam. I wonder if it was planned to be a sprite for that. Offer him a kiss. Not right now, maybe in the full game, dear. See, I do like it. It's meta humor. It's like purposefully breaking the fourth wall rather than just, there's no real reason for it. Do you know who made this game? Yes, absolutely, my good friend Demo, who I've talked about at length for the intro. DemoReel wrote and programmed it. Okay, that's good to know who all the other people are on the team who did the other things. DemoReel wrote and programmed everything, did the character designs, the environment designs, and watched 15 hours of the Iron and Yin and Yang in Japanese, which he cannot understand at all, to make us as faithful as a spoof as possible. The character and environment sprites are done by Dorkazoid of Team MelinPie. Consider checking out their game Turtlehead Unmasked. Oh, I've heard of that one. That's the remake of like a classic horror Rpgmaker game. I remember Demo hyper-focusing about that a lot on our Discord and really promoting it, and I was really proud and happy for them. DemoReel worked on that too. The current music is by Brennan, who is standing in for MelinPie, who was unable to contribute music to this version due to finals ramping up. However, Melin's music will then be in future builds, hopefully. Plugins are provided by Yanfly, Mr. TS, Himeworks, Galv. I've talked to Galv before. Galv is the only person I've ever requested a plugin for, but back when I was on like Rpgmaker web forums when I was young, and I was so bloody shy, I never really wanted to like work on the courage to talk to anyone. I did talk to Galv once, and the visual novel style choices plugin on Rpgmaker VX Ace, I think a bunch of other people also like requested that on Galv's like request a plugin thread, and I don't know which of us he listened to make the idea, but I talked in that thread and I did suggest that I was really happy that the thing I wanted got made, and it was great. And I'll put a screenshot up on the screen of like one of my old projects I used it in. And like every other Rpgmaker project I ever made, I failed to ever finish that one. And OCRam, that's the only one I haven't heard before. I think I'll just skip over the bits where it says, like, in the final version we'll add more stuff, because we know already that's not going to happen. Shout out to Hero, who created the Iron of Yin and Yang video series. So, is it a video series? I thought it was based on another fan game. So is it like a live-action role-play? Is it like reading out a fanfic or something? Is it like an actual, like, animated series? I don't know, but I just know that's wherever these guys come from. Shout out to Pavlov-san for making the comic. Okay, so is it based on the comic, or is it a comic based on it? which is how anybody in the West even knew what Buront is. It's up and translated on DemoReel, by the way. I'll ask Demo about that afterwards because I want to see what it came from. The Iron of Yin and Yang is indeed a video series, not a game. It's specifically a video series of someone playing like a fake game that they made up. Think like Petscop, but for humour instead of horror. There's been fan projects to try and make it a real game, but none of them have succeeded yet. Shout out to everybody who kept Demo motivated. Special shout out to Vinyas, who is a reason for this tiny pre-demo build got submitted to the jam. Bruh, bless you, seriously. Ultra shout outs to you for playing this silly Infodump game. I'm happy to do it. I've been looking forward to this forever. Small lockbox, a sack, some random bottles. I've also said random battles. That would have been really funny. You just knock over a bottle and then zoom and a bunch of rats pop up. And crockery and a CD player. But important and fragile things into that lockbox. It's padded on the inside, so even if people have a Dan Mako match inside my store, at least my breakables will be safe. Is that the thing that they do in Touhou? Because that sounds like a Touhou thing that they do. The only Touhou thing I've ever played is also on a stream and also related to demo. It was Touhou Puppet Play, which is like the Touhou Pokemon fan game. And I think I remember the matches might have been called Dan Mako in that. So that's probably something to do with the magic. I just remember I really liked the one yokai that wasn't humanoid, the one with just a bunch of floating plates. This thought process is why I've replaced all my crockery with less breakable versions that have fallen through the barrier. I'm sick of patching myself up after trying to pick up broken china. But Oscar, you put so much thought into everything, even plates. Next time I'll patch you up and then you can go, wow, Baron-san, you're such a great healer. Truly, you're a legend among knights. I love that. Everything is an opportunity to flirt. Bront like finding every way to have an opportunity to flirt, even in like the hypothetical broken plate world. Oh no, are those broken plates the lady I liked from Touhou Puppet Play? No! You know I'll say that anyway, dear. Speaking of healing, that sack is my attempt at recreating a first aid kit. It has band-aids and cleaning wipes and anything else I may need to treat minor wounds. Okay, so is there no escape from like a modern world setting and not a fantasy world? Are they all from like different dimensions and he's not from a Touhou, he's from like our world and he fell into a Touhou? Maybe that's like the premise of Touhou and why he was like the only male character is he's like the protagonist guy and he's like comes from our world and lands in there and is like, I don't know about these yokai and the yokai teach you about the yokai. I'm trying to piece together like 2 or 3 entire games based on that. I think I should probably stop. That big box-like instruments can accept little plastic circles and read from them. I've yet to find the correct circle for it. Okay, so he doesn't know about modern times. I've yet to find the correct circle for it to read, however, so I'm not sure what exactly it reads from them or how. So is this like a record player or a CD player? What's in the bottles? Are they all empty? We're looking into alternative forms of sake, and I use the bottle to store it in. Currently, most of them are empty, however. Is that legal? Okay, so I'm really curious about what this little character is. That's probably a reference to someone. Random assortments of colourful boxes, a famous type of plush, and a random mushroom. What famous type of plush? What famous type of plush? Also the random boxes, none of them have labels. Are you a psychic or something? A lot of those are random jigsaws that have been found boxless. Some of them are cereal. I don't know until I open the box. That's my favourite line of all. With this guy, I'm getting the vibe of like the comically serious like vibe, like totally serious face, and secretly you're like a troll at heart. I love the idea of like random blind boxes between jigsaws and Count Chocula. It is decisively obvious that you should invest in labels, or just different types of boxes. It's just like a roulette of sadness that you wouldn't want to be caught sleepy by. I love there's so many great turns of phrase that you'd never expect. This is definitely giving me the vibe of Cherry Tree High. The plush toy on the top shelf is a guardian of the boxes, though it cannot speak. I'm sure it knows what exactly I put into every box, even if I myself cannot remember. Also, it's adorable and I like it a lot. I like it a lot too. Who is it? Who is it? Oh, it's a Fumo. I guessed it was a type of Fumo, because I think Fumo or FOMO is like the type of Touhou dolls that Demo collects. I know that they got a custom of one of the characters who doesn't have an official one. Oh, it's right there. Have they even made this character into a FOMO yet? Is this a custom? Oh my god. I can't remember what character that was though. I could have sworn it was someone with red hair. No, I would have been the Owl Dragon Fumo. Does Demo have more than one custom Fumo? The mushroom next to it grew there on its own. It's more friendly than the mold under my rug at least. I wish I could clean this place without having to renovate all of it, remove the floors, store everything somewhere. Like, can I get to that football? I gotta say, I really love games which have random flavor text and clicking on everything, and I didn't realize this game was going to be entirely that. I knew it was going to be about info dumping, but I didn't realize it was running around the room and clicking on stuff to find info dumping. This is really cool. I'm definitely inspired. I really want to make my own fan game or something similar like this. Like, can you imagine, like, Dr. Slap's office and you run around everywhere and you can see, like, his different scientific theses on different monsters and, like, oh, here's the little pet bed I have for my slime that lives under my desk, and you can't prove that it wasn't there canonically in the game because you never see. You never see! And here's my inexplicable chocolate door. I need to stop going off topic. I need to focus on your info dumping, not mine. Random books and boxes and a green orb. On the top of the shelf is a battered and deflated soccer ball. That just reminds me of Game Grumps playing Danganronpa, and like a character died and they were like, we'd have to get past that body to get to that basketball. The books on that shelf are the ones I find the most interesting. They're builder's manuals mostly. Good insight into how things from the outside world are constructed. Ooh! So like studying the other worlds that like fall into this world to recreate things here? So is that how it goes? Like not everything here was like taken from the outside world. Some of it's like magical replications of like modern world technology. Would it function differently to like the actual technology version? I don't know. Creating like a mimicry of a television which actually is like a bunch of fairies flying around inside a box, like putting on different outfits. The boxes are filled with parts I think could be used to make some version of the things in the manuals. Even if I cannot make a full-size automobile, for example, I can still make a miniature version. Oh my god, that's so cute. That's such a fun like couple activities. Let's make a tiny motorcycle together. And then zoom it across the table like those little, what's it called, kick flips? That would be so fun. And the orb is just really pretty. I think it's made of glass. That soccer ball is from an incident about 15 years ago. A trophy is from the same incident. Wish I could remember much about it. It's probably for the best. It's all just a big blur. Did you forget it because the soccer ball hit you in the head? Okay, I've inspected everything in this little corner. I'm gonna go over and talk to this mysterious person here. But yeah, before I got distracted by Super Pig, I was gonna say Baronco kind of sounds like Baroncevis is like your sister or sibling or something. This bed is pretty comfy. I like to lie on it and listen to you two talk. It's nice to hear Papa so happy. Oh, it's an egg child! So this is like, so much of a shipping figure is like them several years in the future and they have a kid. That's adorable! I don't know if this is canon or if it's been invented by Demo, but I like them and I love them and that's so cute. Oh, there's only one little bit of dialogue. I want to get Infodump on who this is. I want to hear all the story about them having a child. CRT computer monitor. My other friend Software Angel on Discord would really like that. She loves like renovating broken computers and fixing them up, and like it's so cute and fun. Things that were broken and like didn't have a home, and she takes them in and she fixes them, and she makes like SpongeBob memes on her arm. Just like, oh my heart, you are doing a service for the world, my friend. That's the face of a computer, which is a Shikigami from the moon. It's capable of doing mass calculation very fast, but without the body and the hands, it's very hard to make it do anything. That's adorable. I was gonna say, I really love the kind of world building where magical people like misunderstand technology stuff. That's like exactly what I was saying about how if they made a computer out of fairies, I'm predicting the game, and the game is making things even better than what I asked for. It used to have a complete computer, but it's hard to remember what happened to it. But I know that there's a cafe in a human village that has a few of them, and they even managed to power them. So there is an exit, so it's not going to be just walking around this one room and Infodumping. We can visit other places. I've been there. All I can run is FF11 and the Drac hackers spend all their free time playing it. One day I'll do my duty as a knight and ask them, have you tried the expanded free trial of a critically acclaimed RPG Final Fantasy XIV? I'm not going to read out the whole thing, but that's so funny. So, does Baron not know he's from that game, or does he know he's from the game and he's trying to promote his own universe to everybody else? And they say things like, you're so cool, Baron-san, and how do you know about an MMO that came out 2 years after you ended up here? And you are not allowed to advertise on these premises, sir. You need to leave. My cheeks are hurting from how much this game is making me laugh already. Okay. I would say I want to go outside and see if there's anything outside, but I first want to say goodbye to my lovely boyfriend. Hug! I wouldn't want to leave without you. Oh, is that some mole on the carpet he was talking about? Yay. I can't leave, the full game's out there and it isn't ready yet. Okay, that's funny. Okay, so it is just a demo in one game. That's good. It's a demo made by Demo. I only just realised I could have made a pun the whole time. What's this ladder? Metal ladder. It's probably how I really appreciate how you can like get into the tiniest corners to inspect the tiniest things, even the things that in most games you'd expect to be like covered by like the collision detection by other games. That's what I really like about this. Is clearly like it's not made using a tile set. This is like a parallax background where it's all like drawn on a big thing, and they've like custom programmed however the collision is to go around and what to select on, and that takes a lot more work than doing a regular game, so I'm quite impressed. A metal ladder is probably how he gets to the top of the taller shelves. It seems unsafe to do alone. The purpose of a ladder is to reach up. Oh, there's a timer! Oh my god, I'm going up to an hour. This is a fun friend game. I'm going up to an hour. And I'm not even hesitating. Usually I'm like, oh, do I want to go more? I want to go more. I want to go more. Ba-ba! The purpose of a ladder is to reach high places. So I've had my fair share of falls on that one. You need someone around the shop to help you out with these things. Running solo works for the campaign, but as soon as you hit the raid boss, you cry out for a tank in your party. In this metaphor, is the ladder the boss? Is the light bulb the boss? Do we have an entire party holding a ladder as you go up? Can we draw DPS of the ceiling? I suppose. I've always been alone in the store ever since I moved out here. It would be nice to take on an assistant, but I need to clean up a lot in order to make it work. I can easily help you clean up. It'd take a lot of work, but it'd be worth it for you. Love. If I talk to Cyrus, can I talk to this box? Oh no, I can only talk to a ladder from here. This box has no flavor text. That's the only thing in the room so far it doesn't. Mysterious. Does this box has flavor text, yay! So I can't get to the clock for flavor text. I'm curious about the blocked off door in the background too, because it has a mysterious moony door handle. 2 large boxes haphazardly stacked on top of it. I wonder if I can like sneak past this to get to this shelf, because I'm also curious what the little zombie thing is. 2 large boxes haphazardly stacked on top of one another. Behind that is a grandfather clock. I can talk to the clock from here, yeah! Hello, grandfather clock! Those boxes are full of things I figure Marisa will be most interested in. I vaguely know Marisa is some kind of Touhou, like, music video had the name of Marisa in it. Like, Marisa stole the precious thing, Marisa broke the precious thing. I vaguely only know of Touhou through, like, memes and what Demo Hyperfocus is about. Oh, and UN Owen was her is the song that the Ronald McDonald meme was for. And that is somebody from a Touhou somewhere. These are full of things I figure Marisa will be the most interested in. This way when she inevitably comes to pilfer my wares, she doesn't have too much difficulty finding things she likes. Less difficulty for Marisa means less repairs for me to do, were she to go through my entire store. I've known her long enough now that I know what interests her and what doesn't. Patchoulty. That's a really cool name and I'm really curious about who that is. That sounds really cool. Says Marisa steals books at random, so I'm not sure how you can decipher what she wants to add to her inventory, especially since she also stocks books and you have shelves of them. Not to discredit Patchouli, as she is a valued informant and sometimes provides me with books to stock, but she doesn't really put the effort in to learn much about Marisa and her preferences for materials to borrow. I really appreciate Rinosuke. He's a grumpy, but he's clearly a nice guy. I pay attention to my friends, even the one who steals my shit. I know exactly what shit she loves to steal and I'll give her more of it. I love that. It's great how you're getting more of a sense of all the characterization from going around. Marisa borrows things that be useful to her in some way, be that for magic or her emotional well-being. Therefore, she has a preference for magic books and anything shiny or fitting for an existing borrow hoard. Oh, is Marisa like a magpie or a crow person? Because I know all the yokai are based on some kind of animals, I think. And a plate. I don't know who the plate is, but I remember I really like the plate. I found a large tower clock a long time ago, and for a while the pendulum would swing as the clock would tick. When she was young, Marisa would sit and watch the pendulum with a sense of awe for its perfect timing and momentum. Oh, so is Marisa like a younger person that Rinosuke is like known from a child and like raised up or something? Is that why he's got a soft spot on her even though she steals his stuff? Are those foam packing peanuts in there? Yeah, look at the pillows! Pile of pillows. Behind that is a neatly stacked pile of boxes filled with piles of pillows, filled with piles of boxes filled with various memorabilia. The only thing I can make out from this angle is a plush toy in the top box. Is that the other Fumo of Al Dragon? On the shelf above that is a photo frame and lamp. And whatever the zombie is! I'm sure you know well what a pillow is for, but as we agreed, I'll tell you anyway. My ability states that the purpose of a pillow is to provide a comfortable area to lean against to otherwise cushion you. These pillows are fairly large, so perhaps they are used by giants. It wouldn't be the first set of objects I have that cater to larger beings. I think these are body pillows for types kept by small-hearted hackers and gaijins. Usually covered by an image of a girlfriend they wish they had. If they trained as a knight, perhaps they'd get their wish to come true. Come be my DPS to get the babes! Or the boys, dabbies per second. For once I'm unable to visualize what you mean. I think in this case it might be a good thing for me at least. Regardless, the boxes behind them are filled with small durable objects that either know to be toys or my ability has helped me decide a toy. That's interesting. So like, is that his job? Is like he runs like a knick-knack store, or like he identifies things for the other people in their shops? Do people like come to him and be like, here's a box of random stuff that fell out of a portal, can you tell me, is this from another world, is this a cool thing? And he like holds up like an anime figurine, like, is this an ancient weapon from the other world? I really like seeing a slice of life in this world, and it makes me excited to see more. I'd love to play more games set in this. The one that sticks out to me is a plush toy of red hair. Oh, this isn't a Fumo. I guess I call it a mini doll. That's probably another brand of things. I don't remember Demo ever talking about mini dolls. I remember them talking about Fumos. But it's of no character I know of. Is that Eldragon then? The Sona character of Demo's boyfriend? So I don't think he is part of the Touhou universe. I don't know who the character is either, but I appointed him as guardian of a toy box pile. I'm sure he'll tell me if trouble ever brews in there, such as unrest or rebellion, and help me resolve it. I love this. Ryunosuke is just such like peak comically serious, and I adore him. There is nothing that he won't take seriously, including the uprising of the plush army. I haven't done much with the shelf for ages, but there's a frame up there that holds a picture of Marisa and myself back when she was a child. So it is Marisa also one of their children or something? Do they have like a long history of adopting loads of cool kids? I had found an old camera and wanted to see if I could make it work. After a lot of trouble and testing, I managed to set it up and even got a picture of Marisa casting her first spell. Oh, that's fun to imagine in this universe. They have like different baby book firsts. Like, oh, her first fang fell out, her first spell, her first conquering of a dungeon, her first destroying the world. Unfortunately, said spell hit the camera 10 in the lens, so it was never usable again. Still, it printed the picture before that, and I was able to frame it. I wonder where I put that camera in the end. Oh, is that something I could find somewhere else on one of the other boxes? What about the lamp? What about the zombie? Purpose is to hold a beacon of light. Its outer shell is also good for dealing with things that may threaten the suspension of disbelief of anybody looking in on the situation. I love that. A good old TV tropes reference. I don't know if your ability told you that or your genre savviness is kicking in again. Kerosene heater. There's not so much use in some. I thought it was like a fly zapper. Behind it is an old TV and old shelf above it. Oh, it's a turtle. Oh, is that from Turtlehead? So is it like about a turtle zombie? The plush is staring at me. Now I'm curious why one of those shelves in the back has such bright colours. Is that a reference to someone else? Cian gave that to me. Something about promoting a game called Turtlehead Unmasked, a horror game by Team by MelinPie. Hey, since when did you become a shill? Isn't breaking the fourth wall my thing? Ah, true. Anyway, that thing at your feet is my kerosene heater. Yukari from Persona, or is there just another Yukari? Yukari supplies me with fuel for it in the winter in exchange for taking whatever she wants from my store. That's how it used to be anyway. I love how everyone just steals from his store. Or is it supposed to be this world has like a barter system instead of money? As payment for participating in the incident. She gave me back some of the more interesting or dangerous items she took from me, and will fuel my heater for free this winter thanks to all the trouble I got into with her. Is she some kind of fire yokai then? Behind that is a television. It presents visions of our world by attaching to cables that feed it data like a hungry beast. I haven't yet found the right cables. I suspect none have fell for the border. I'm just imagining him like poking like little licorices into it, like a really thin carrot. Like, is this the one that will sate your hunger, beast? That's got to be one of my favourite of your theories so far. Your ability to take limited knowledge and spin it with only your imagination to insist you is incredible. Even if you do end up very off the mark, you do it with gusto. I love that Baronta's just telling the audience exactly why I really enjoy Ryunosuke's character too. Okay, if I go here, will I be able to see the one behind it? Why is that one the only one that's really colourful? Wooden chest of drawers, suspiciously the same dimensions as a filing cabinet. It's full of Ryunosuke's clothes. Behind is a tall and colourful shelf, but I can't reach it. Why is it colourful? Tell me! Is that the secret Lego Narnia? That's where I store my clothes. I have more sets than people think, but I find certain fits comfortable. I end up wearing them a lot. I add more layers in winter and less in summer, as is the way that most people do. Have you had your current outfit for a while? Did you have to get it from the human village tailor like I did with mine? That's interesting to imagine, like, do they have, like, different fashion tastes in, like, the natives to this world and the people, the way they're implying human village means that, like, are humans not native to this world? Do they only come from the portals? I was assuming Ryunosuke is a human because he doesn't have pointy ears, but is he also, like, an elf-type person? I had most of it already, but I picked up a shirt special from the tailor. It's based on a style that Ryunosuke told me about called a Hawaiian shirt. Oh, so is it like the canon version of Ryunosuke and this version of Ryunosuke both exist in this universe? Is it like a multiverse of like every Touhou fan game that's ever been made by this company and they all coexist? Or does he mean the Ryunosuke altar in Demo's actual system? Would this all be able to connect to the inner world? I should get one of those myself so we match. The flowers look really good on you, you know. Honest. I think you look great in a red one. By the way, I have no idea if there's anything left in the back unit. Haven't looked at it in a long time and I've forgotten what I put in it to begin with. Oh no, that's what I want to know more than anything else. It's for the joke, like, it's just like a really noticeable thing that is actually not important. Oh, the mystery. I think this is the only one in the top row I haven't looked at yet. A metal filing cabinet. It's full of random papers and a single leather-bound tome with a lotus emblazoned on it. Behind it is a taller black shelf I can't reach it. I haven't recognised almost any of the references so far, so I think they must all be for franchises I don't know. Everything I know about lotuses is, Nova likes Magic the Gathering and the black lotus is like the rarest card in that, I think. Been writing down the more interesting happenings in my store for a long time. I don't really have a way to organise it properly, so I just keep it in here. Started out as just me writing down random curiosities in that tome, but managed to run out of space in it after a while and end up using loose paper instead. Only always mood. I had so much like loose paper drawings that I keep, okay, I'll staple this into the back of my art book eventually, and I keep forgetting, and like right in front of me in my desk right now is a stack of like 15 drawings of Dr. Snap. And one copy of my deed poll. Okay, why is that there? You must have a lot of stories written down, perhaps you're even a legend among shopkeepers. I hope you'll share them with me sometime. By the way, what's in the back unit? How do you reach it? Isn't it way too high? I didn't even figure that they were taller than the ones in the front. I just thought it was like a dramatic angle. Actually, it's been so long I've been in that unit, I've forgotten what's in it. I would access it with a ladder over the corner, but I don't want to slip and fall. Oh, is that another feature that was planned for like, the final game, that you could actually move a ladder and like animate it to roll over here? Okay, so what else we see? We have I'm not sure I'll have time to look at everything, because I don't know how, if the game really has an ending, or if it is just, you look at everything and you decide when you want to stop. Let's just prioritise what we want to look at. I'm curious about the carpet mould. Oh, I can't talk to the carpet mould! No, what is the story of the carpet mould? I've also noticed that, yeah, that state pixel seems to be a glitch, because you can see it when you go over the darker ones. It changes where it is. It's like, left and right, it's in a different place. It only seems to be on the left and right and not on the up and down. I'm going to look at the ace flag, because this is a table of all the things I actually do recognise. A striped flag in a board game. My ability notes that board game is used for destroying friendships. It's definitely Monopoly then. Or it could be Dokapon Kingdom. Why anybody would play such a thing is beyond me. Do they secretly not like their friends? No, it's like the fire-forged friendship. If you can survive a round of Monopoly, you know that you are bonded for all eternity. I know this game. You move pieces around the board and aim to be the best capitalist. And if a newer FF online game has a similar system with their overpriced housing scheme, oh, I've heard Nova complain about that. But you can make really cool and interesting buildings in it. She's made some kind of like, it wasn't Nightcore, that means something else, but it was something cool, and it was like spooky, but also it's like plants inside and stuff like it was like she's playing as like a witch character, like a supernatural expansion, and then like her girlfriend temporarily turned into a ghost, and she found a poster to turn back from a ghost. I really love hearing my friends Infodump about games even though I don't understand them at all. No, that might have been in The Sims actually. I cannot fathom why anybody would find any of that fun at all. People in the outside world must enjoy pain in a way I can't quite grasp. I really love these turns of phrase. I think a game like Touhou would be more your style. It's about who can have the best vacation. I never lost once, my foolproof strategy has become a legend among us. Is that a real game? That sounds really cool. I'd love to play like a wholesome slice of life, like board game about just everyone having a nice day. That's like the opposite of Monopoly. Compete to give your friends more places to go. You knowing of that game seems a little anachronistic, but no matter. I wouldn't know because I don't know where it came from in the first place. A flag draped over the edge of my table is something Marisa got me from the world she ended up in as part of The Incident. What is The Incident? Is that one of the previous games? She explained it suited me and it's a nice colour scheme, so I must agree. Oh, so is Rinosuke like canonically Ace? I'm assuming Ace but not Arrow because he has a boyfriend. Oh, is it like, is Baron's outfit meant to be like, I think the Pan flag? Is that it? I was just going to say he's got similar colour scheme to the flag. Was that on purpose? Was this for a Pride game jam? Oh, I never asked what type of game jam it was actually for. So what's the premise of the game? Like, it wasn't just headcanon as a couple for no particular reason. It was like people saying like, what's your headcanons of like sexualities for everybody, and then like, presented by showing my amazing favourite couple talking about amazing favourite couple things. That's a really cool idea. Matches your clothes. Is that Marisa's suggestion too? Or was it Rimu's? Is Rimu related to Reimu? Because that makes me think it's like like record on the camcorder. So is it like some kind of like digital doppelganger? Is it like a Vocaloid version? Reimu's. So is it not Reimu? Is it Reimu? Are there actually two people called Reimu and Reimu, or was that a joke I missed? As you know, everybody coming to the party is recommended to wear clothes that represent their pride, and she's been giving suggestions to folks who don't know what that means for them. I should have just waited one text block later, it'll confirm exactly my theory. Rain was always much kinder when she let herself be seen as a heart of pure golden ingot hidden behind the strongest fangs of Gensokyo. That I know is the name of a setting in the Touhou somewhere. Of course, a paladin such as myself will always praise the party. Like literally a party. Okay, so is that your shield, Baron, because you're a knight guy? My paladin shield, yay! And a gold trophy to me for being the best himbo. I'm sure you know what your shield does, but my ability states it exists to protect one's allies. It also refers to it specifically as a Koenig shield. Is it like a high level equip in the game, or is it a reference to something else? That's right, level, yep, okay. I should just stop saying things. The game is gonna be like, yes, exactly that. I feel so informed. Level 70 equipped, War Paladin Dark. Are those different classes, Warrior, Paladin, Dark Knight? Vit +5, Charisma +5, or Chat Character +5? A perfect shield for the party's main tank. I also think, where did the nickname tank come from like guarding guys? Because when you think of a tank, it's not really like a guarding weapon, it's more like a war weapon that shoots and blows things up. I guess maybe it's like, you're built like a tank, like a really chumby guy who protects everybody, I don't know. You also need to upgrade to a Kaiser shield and gave it a spec. So it'll take a while to get the ingredients, but I see enough traders from Vanity will come by here, so it won't be too long until it's done. That's the only thing I really know about Final Fantasy XIV is I played the critically praised demo up to Heavensward, but it was before it was up to Heavensward, so I only played the first arc and I really didn't enjoy it. And what I've heard from Nova is the first arc of the story is really slow and it's just like an introduction, and like it's literally like once you get to like Heavensward is when the game starts getting good and interesting and the plot actually matters. So anyway, I played like 1 day worth of a demo. I barely got to see anything. I did a bunch of crafting because I didn't really enjoy the battle system. I'm really bad at like action battles. I just remember laughing a lot of all the different crafting quests. They are really endearing NPCs. What about the trophy? You haven't told me where you got that from yet. What amazing deeds did you perform to become the pride of your link shell? I remember that. That's the name for like the item you use to talk to people in the guild. You know, I'm not entirely sure. Something to do with soccer and that bird yokai who visits. Is this a secret story behind the soccer ball that stole your memories? And something about rock music and some innocent treasures? It's all a huge blur, honestly. I'm assuming those are all references to different games, right, or something. Soccer ball on the shelf behind me is from the same incident. Yes, it's all coming together. If I talk to everything in the room, will I eventually find out what the incident is? I'm curious about this book. Is that the Gravity Falls book or not? A large tome emblazoned with a symbol of a lance and a music. I didn't expect that to be a lance, it just looked like a diamond to me. So this is another thing about another class in Final Fantasy that I wouldn't know about. All I remember is I've played other Final Fantasy games, I just haven't played the MMO, and lances are usually used by dragoons. And I know Nova liked some kind of dragoon in the game who had like a twin sister. I don't remember. I need to have a game like this where I store up all my other friends' hyperfocus so I actually remember them. That small device will store and play a lot of music. That being said, it's never played any for me. Yukari once told me that it would give me visions of the outside world if I hold it to my ear, but I don't know. Does he not know that you have to charge it up? That's really funny to imagine him using like an iPod as a conch shell. Yeah, it's one of the items she returned to me as payment for participating in the incident. What is the incident? If only fighting my monstrous double had been worth such returns, it all seems fairly petal now. There are doppelgangers, so is Rimu another doppelganger? Was the incident about everyone fighting doppelgangers? And like one of them became a friend and joined the town and the others were evil? That book is a training tome, right? It looks like more of a run type of book and something for a red mage such as yourself. What does run stand for? Because I think that stands for red mage. Basically the best I could get. It's from the... So, is Rinosuke like learning how to do Final Fantasy class thanks to his Final Fantasy boyfriend? That's really cute. That's a nice way of combining the games. I wonder if he's teaching Baron like Touhou magic in return. All I know about Touhou is it's a bullet house. I don't know if the magic like in universe actually is like you throw things and dodge each other like that, because that sounds really cool. Braun could be teaching him like, okay, you're supposed to like stand still and wait for the attack to hit and like tank it and then DPS it, and Rinosuke is like, no, you're supposed to dodge the attack and you're supposed to run around, and they got like mutually exclusive like fighting styles. They got to learn from each other how to handle the other one in the case of like people from both of their worlds come and attack and they got to defend the village. I'm making fanfic of your fanfic demo, I'm sorry. It's basically the best I can get. So Lancer's not swords, I need to learn somehow. I don't want to have you teach a beginner. No! Have him teach a beginner like you! It's adorable, it's a really cute couple's date idea. As a powerful tank, I pride myself in being able to party with a character of any level or skill set. Even the newest of new players will be going, wow, Baron-san is so cool by the time of taking down our first raid boss. I'm already going, wow, Baron-san is so cool, and I've never played a single game with you. Thank you. I think I'll take you up on that sometime if you don't mind. I'll still read this book though, it's very interesting. It talks of beating monsters I've never heard of, like Rathalos and Kushaladora. Oh, is this like a D&D book or something? I'm sure I've heard Rathalos somewhere. A lot of my friends do also play D&D. There's so many like hyper-focuses floating around I don't know of, but I know of by association, and I love my pals. I'm just so happy they're happy about it. And I will talk to the Game Boy, which is the only other thing I know what it is. A toolbox, a broken clock face. Oh, that's what it is. I thought that was carbon monoxide detector. That's what I thought it was. And an old games console. What looks to be a piece of the mini hack arrow. Don't know what that is. And some odd pieces of green plastic. I know what those are because I often chew on plastic in my own spare time. Toolbox is what I use for constructing and repairing magical tools. Maurice's mini hack arrow for oh, so it's connected to their other adopted child person. Or is it Vernoske's adopted child before he met Baront? You already knew that, considering I've been working on this shield for a few weeks now, using these very tools. Oh, so you see, like, upgrading Baront's shield to have, like, Touhou magic in it. This shield be the symbolization of our unifying love. I was happy to hear about it again, you know. The best days are when my chat log is filled with your knowledge and fears. That's so sweet. That's such a cool way of integrating, like, gameplay stuff. So Baront can actually, like, record all these happy info dumps for his boyfriend and play them back when he's lonely. That's so cute, and that's such a lovely mental image. Oh my gosh. I wish I could do that in real life. I wish I had, like, a photographic memory like that. I have such a really bad memory, and I always get really, really worried I'm forgetting important things that my friends have told me. I don't want my friends to feel like I don't care about their interests just because, like, I'm really bad at retaining the info for it. Because trust me, I forget loads of things that are important to me too. I never forget Dr. Snap though. I tend to just have one hyper-focus and everything except it just seeps out of my mind. Oh, thank you. I can never state enough how much it means to me for you to say that. Aww. Speaking of repairing things, that clock face is very broken. I don't know what happened to it, but Sakuya... Is it also in the incident? Was everything in the incident? What is the incident? Is there a game about the incident? Demo, once I play this, tell me if there's a game about the incident. I will edit in the end of this what the incident was because I'm so fucking curious. Is this whole game just an advertisement to play more of your games? I don't know what's happened to it, but Sakuya wants it fixed. That's another thing. I don't think we've mentioned those before. I like how it's just drizzling in names of different Touhou people or Final Fantasy people. Don't know who's which is which, but it makes me curious about them, and I wonder if they're going to be starring in the other games. Sakuya wants it fixed as soon as I can get the parts to do so. I was just assuming that most of the people I said were Touhou people because all I know about Touhou is it's mostly women, and Rinosuke is like either the only man or one of the only men because that's all I remember from Friends and Farewells. That's the only information I was given about him. That and just a picture of him with like the worst outfit you've ever possibly imagined in the universe. And I'm really, really glad that Demo's headcanoned a way cuter one for him. Honestly, it suits him way better. That colour scheme works really well for him. Like, he was born to wear ace colours. I also need to fix the plastic pieces into whatever they make. Oh, it's like a gunpla where you make together a figurine. Did you know that for things like that, my ability only tells me the name and purpose of the piece? Piece of plastic isn't helpful to know how to fix it. That's really interesting. I really love the world building of like abilities like that and how they have like realistic drawbacks and stuff you have to work around and how to be really sneaky to figure out how to use it. I can imagine loads of ways like like a more dramatic plot about maybe the incident. That could be like useful, or that could be a drawback in a moment to like, figure out a great strategy to defeat someone. Like, I don't know how the biology of that creature works, but if someone could like cut a slice in their leg so I can touch their bone, I could be able to tell like the weak points of their skeletal structure, because technically all the bones are connected to each other, so I'll be able to feel the whole of every piece instead of just one piece. Also, if I touched the manga series One Piece, I can predict the ending years ahead of time. Ichiro Oda, you're going down! I will dismantle your skeleton! I went off topic slightly. No time. Okay. I did say I don't have enough time to look at every single thing. Considering it's taken me this time to go through top half of the thing, I will just continue playing my own free time and see what everything else is. I just won't record it. I want to see if there is actually an ending at the end of it. But for now, I'm going to go on this last one because that was the one I was really interested. What about your Game Boy? I love how some stuff is just like we just said the copyrighted name of every Touhou character, but we're bleeping out brand names. Or is it like the people in this universe don't quite have the names for everything? They've only been able to like unearth it from like what is this ancient tome, and it's like looking at like a packaging box or something. I can only make out 3 of the runes. It says Cap'n Crunch. There must be a letter missing here. Those things are pretty old. Even a delinquent as long-lived as myself has only ever had one in childhood. I feel slightly old because I was young enough to have those come out when I was a kid. I never actually had an original Game Boy though. I started with a Game Boy Color. I think it might have been the yellow Pikachu one. I know I definitely started with Pokemon Yellow and only went back and like played Red and Blue after. I also had a limited edition Pikachu Nintendo 64. To this day, that is the best limited edition console ever. It wasn't just like painted on, it had like raised up plastic. It was like an actual Pikachu like sculpted into the thing, and it had extra features. If you do certain things in game, Pikachu's cheeks would light up. It was like an expanded like rumble pack which wasn't on the controller but on the console itself, and instead of rumbling it would light up and it would sometimes make noises, and it was just really cute. It made me feel like my favourite monsters playing the game along with me. I did used to genuinely like Pikachu before they started overusing him in like the marketing in every single season and everything forever, and I was like, I hate how give me too much Pikachu has made me like neutral on Pikachu. But then again, if I really did love a character, I don't think that would have destroyed it. I have like around 2,500 random Pixiv fan arts of Dr. Snap saved on my hard drive, and I never get tired of looking at them. Teach me how to make the sense of bleep my mouth. Oh, because it actually is in-universe of bleeping out the brands. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that thing is capable of destroying worlds. Please do not try to operate. I got it back from Ikari as payment for participating in the incident. Was this gameplay somehow involved in the incident? Does he mean destroying worlds? Like, he plays the game and he thinks that's a world. Like, oh no, the battery's run out, the whole world has been destroyed. That would be adorable. Would Game Boys actually create worlds? Like, could they, like, pull things out from that world like anything else in the portals? That would be really cool. I intend to keep it safely locked away so it never falls into the wrong hands. Who knows what the people of Gensokia would do with that kind of power? And if we threw in a link cable, we'd be doomed! Whilst I love your theory, it is decisively obvious that your ability has caused you some fear in this case. A Game Boy is simply a device for playing video games. You can destroy worlds on them, but those worlds are fictional. Actually, considering both Touhou and FF11 are video games and we're real, perhaps those worlds aren't fictional after all. But no way, aren't most video games about saving the world? Main character types do cause a lot of collateral damage though. There are also plenty of games about just having a chill time with no destruction. At least now I know it cannot be used to destroy this world at least, so thank you for telling me. I still think we should probably keep it away from mischief, perhaps I don't need to be as scared of it. And if we ever do find a way to operate it, I'd quite like to learn how to play one of these more calm games with no destruction. If you'd be willing to help me acquire such a thing. I don't know if there were many for the original Game Boy though. All that comes to mind is Harvest Moon, and that honestly is like one of the most stressful slice of life games ever. The original ones had like really restrictive rules on them and everything was way more confusing. I can't remember which console it was on, but there's a one with golden lumber. That was just like the meanest trick to play on the game. Like, if you save up money for the most expensive house building material, if you use it, everyone in town hates you because you're showing off how posh you are, and it's like you have to then like save up again to like de-upgrade to regain the friendship points. That's such a mean trick, developers. And again, just exactly what I was saying is coming up. To play my favourite calming game, we need a newer console like the GameCube or the DS. I wonder if that's Animal Crossing, because I really liked playing Animal Crossing with Demo. I wonder if we'd be able to get one via the other world, or maybe they're so old by now they can fall here on their own. Oh, so is that the rule of how things fall into this world? Like, it has to be like abandoned in some way to end up here? That would make sense, because we've had like a CRT, we had like an iPod, so is it only like once technology has become forgotten, it falls down into here, and this is the realm of the forgotten. Okay, that was a cool note to end on. I will save up here, and I'll take a little break, and I'll finish looking at everything myself, and I'll update if there's anything else I've missed. Oh, one little error I've noticed is when you right click on the menu, there's still an item option here even though the game doesn't have items. But it's actually really impressive to have a game which has no combat. It actually does remove like the combat status menus. You just forgot one little one here. Because Rpgmaker's default engine is like, it's set up for like classic JRPGs. It's all focused around like combat and items and levels and stuff. And if you want to just do a chill slice of life game like this, you have to use like plugins or custom programming to remove that. And we've played at least one during this marathon which had like a game-breaking glitch because of how they failed to do that. So I'm impressed that this game got it like 99% correct. Ooh, a really big save menu. That's really cool. I really disliked it last when it only showed one save on a screen at a time. You had to constantly scroll through, and it wouldn't show you when you were scrolling. It would just be like a weird sound effect and the screen wouldn't actually move. We haven't seen too many which have like a creative or actually good save interface anyway. I haven't really remarked on it. I'm just used to Rpgmaker not having good saves. So hell yeah. Oh, popping in. If you click on the chest, you get information about what I think is the incident. A large chest full of old clothes. Hidden underneath them is Kusanagi no Tsurugi. I think that's some kind of legendary Japanese sword. I'm sure I've heard of that mentioned in some kind of anime. Those are Marisa's old clothes from before she decided to become a witch in both skill and aesthetic. So Marisa is like a witch, but she used to be something else? Did she used to be a yokai, or was she a human? Or was she from Final Fantasy and like transitioned into being from Touhou? I was donating them to use for whatever long ago, and so I ended up using to hide important things. I noticed too, that's one reference I noticed. Misa did something with the important thing is the name of that one music video meme, which I saw linked into the Ronald McDonald Ran Roo, you know it is here, and I already sound insane just listening off these things, let alone trying to comprehend them. When I first had to wield Kusanagi no Sorugi, I had no idea how to swing a sword. I had brought it along the incident, mostly as a joke to fit the villain role Yukari wanted me to, if only in looks. So yeah, this seemed to be the incident lore, and it's something about, like, certain people were assigned to be villains and protagonists. I never expected to have to use it, but Rinosuke had been through a lot and had 2 young kids as allies they had to protect no matter what. It was understandable that he acted how he did. So, is that what's up with the duplicates? It was like a duplicate of you from, like, different dimensions, and one of you is like, you were designated as a bad guy, you were designated as a good guy, and like, they were told it was like a game or something, and then they didn't realise how serious it was, and then he had some sort of dramatic fight with like the other version of himself, and then one of them had to die, and the other version of himself had even more adopted kids, different adopted kids. When you're told you can only go home if you defeat the villain, and when you have 2 kids with you, it could be at risk. When a person you've been told to beat came to the party with a sword, of course you're going to fight. But I wasn't told about any of that. I was simply told I was a villain, that the protagonist was another version of me. I had no reason to believe that he would know how to fight, let alone to be driven to... Oh, is that the reason why we're having a glitch with no full stops at the end of a sentence? Is it like words are cut off because it went over the limit for a text box? Oh, I'm not sure what he was driven to. That sounds like a really, really important moment for the lore, and I really want to know what he was driven to. I'm assuming he was driven to some kind of dramatic, sad thing where one of them died. That seems to be how the Rage Yukari setup went down in general. Me and Zian, Frandl and Fleur Elise, the Mokus. Yay, both Mokus are here. Shout out to Trans Moko in the audience if you happen to be fronting. Hello, buddy. All of the Link shells I had the hardest time were set up against raid bosses Yukari had picked up. I wonder how many more of the sentences I've seen up until now might have been missing a key word. Did I miss even more adorable info dumping? Yeah, since then I've decided to learn how to fight, even if only for self-defense or swordplay, or to impress you. You don't need to do my job to impress me. I'm happy to help you practice your swordsmanship. Then we can take turns being Baronko's sparring partner, and they'll have double the XP to gain. Oh yeah, does that kid use they them pronouns? It's also such an adorable family bonding activity, is teaching your kid how to be like a super half-paladin, half-red mage dual job class. It sounds like a good plan to me. I'd love to learn from you. So yeah, that is the lore about whatever the previous game was in the series, and that's really intriguing, and I now want to play a game about it. I'm not going to count it as a flaw of the game about how it drops some cool lore but doesn't expand on it, because it clearly is like this is a sequel, and that's kind of the point. But that makes me want to play that game too. Much as I adore this slice of life awesome cuteness, I want to see how Demo handles like an emotionally destructive game plot like that. I'm prepared to cry. There's some random reference to some sort of manga about all the kids have powers, and a plot drops off halfway through and never recovers, and a favourite character got completely destroyed, turned into a HN and killed. Can't remember the name of it, Apotheosis or something? That's what it is, Aphorism. That's the manga that fucking sucked. I remember reading that manga and I dropped it off far before that character got introduced, and I was just talking about it one day with Demo like, oh, that manga seemed really promising, but it started to get really weird and padded, and then the translation stopped, and then they were like, oh, the translation continued, don't continue reading it, it's terrible, he introduced a really cool character and then give him the worst fate ever. I can't remember his name, but that character I headcanon, he somehow teleported into another universe, and Dr. Snap became like his mentor figure and saved him, because he really did get treated shit. He was like a character who was like, the series was really unforgiving to him. He was like basically the victim of an abusive relationship with the main villain guy, and he was manipulated into being like his minion guy, and everyone like treated him worse than the main villain guy himself, because like, oh, it's so like pathetic, and like, what, how could you be scared of him and do all these bad things? no sympathy whatsoever for an abuse victim. And like, even after the main guy was villain, he was having like literal like hallucinations and panic attacks about him, and he was vulnerable to being manipulated by someone else, and all anyone would ever say is like, oh, it's so shady, he's so mentally unstable, what if he turns evil next? And I was already like about to punch all of the main cast. And it didn't help at the same time everything was devolving into stupid fan service. And then this guy had the worst fate ever. The next challenge for your magical powers was everyone's teleported into like a video game world, and like some people get to be the protagonist, and like this guy got to be the final boss because he was kidnapped by the generic evil cult of guys who were like kind of based on Hargon from Dragon Quest, and they like did a ritual to turn him into the boss monster, and it's like, that's just your fate in this game. You are destined to die so that everyone else can have the big boss fight and have their character development and go out of it, and he just dies. And it's like all the build up of like this abuse victim, this recovering guy, the only guy who survived from the villains, who had like a sympathetic reason behind and everything, and you'd think it would be about his arc of recovery, and instead it's not. He just sits there sad in his bedroom for several arcs while everyone says he sucks, and then he gets killed off by literal NPCs. And it's that stupid trope I hate of, he's a monster now, we have to kill him, it's not possible to recover. And this seems to be a very big metaphor for how they feel about victims of literal trauma. And I'm like, okay, now I'm dropping the series again for a second time, but thank you for telling me about that demo, because now I have a new character to love and transport him into my brain realm of nice monster scientists who will treat him kind and have empathy for monsters and have empathy for trauma survivors and have empathy for social anxiety. And just, I forgot the name of that series, half because I have a terrible brain and half out of sheer rage. Who was the man who got Monster? I cried eternally for him, and then he didn't retain in my memory because the book was so bad. All that remains is the headcanons. Oh, Tabori! This poor lad! Status dead, not in my heart. I hate this entire manga entirely for how they treated this lad. I'll both warn everyone on the earth away from ever reading it. Just stop before it gets to his end. I can't believe that's the only reference I've got so far. Oh, Full Metal Alchemist, I also get this reference. Something more edgy, like the one about a guy who finds a book who can kill people and Komachi's ugly half-brother appears in his bedroom. Okay, I thought that was a reference to Death Note, but maybe it's something else, like a parody of Death Note, or is it just like comparing Ryuk to whoever Komachi is from something else and they look like Ryuk? I really liked Ryuk's design. I don't think he's ugly, I think he's awesome. Aliens who scream a lot and keep gaining in power until they can eventually split realities and train with a single kick. I want to know what it is because it sounds awesome. Oh wait, is it just Dragon Ball Z? That makes it sound awesomer than it actually is. They don't tend to use cool kicks, it tends to just be like, I make a big ball of energy appear and I just toss it at you, and here's my special attack, where a different big ball of energy appears and I just toss it at you. I still can't believe that the Kamehameha and the Spirit Bomb are like, they're not in universe the same thing, but it's really funny how it's like 10 arcs later we've unlocked like the ascended level of an even bigger orb that we throw at you. I did love that series as a kid, but I mostly just liked the Majin Buu arc. I got really attached to that character, and I felt so let down because they had like a fake out of like, I thought it would be really genuinely cool if like the arc had ended without a big fight, like Mr. Satan. Ironically, the guy called Mr. Satan is like one of the purest, kindest dudes in the whole series, like the representation of like the hope of humanity itself, because he's just a normal guy who was terrified going up against Majin Buu, who was like hyped up by everyone to be like destined and born as this evil genie who only exists for destruction. He like showed him empathy and found out that he wasn't like that. He was just like an innocent child who needed a good support figure in his life. They have this adorable like familial arc, they adopt a dog and they have a little house, and it's so sweet. And I really hope that would have actually been the end of the arc and it would have been subversive. It doesn't end with a big stupid anime fight where some guy summons an even bigger ball to throw at a guy. But no, it's just suddenly a random reveal. He had an evil DID alter that takes over his body and will become the main villain now, even though he redeemed the main villain. And that guy actually is like the boring embodiment of evil with no personality whatsoever and barely even any dialogue, who just sort of stands around a lot and goes and then also his extra super final form talks even less, and it's like, at least he was slightly subversive that he like de-ages down into Kid Buu and that's his final form, but like that was the only interesting part of it. It's just like, oh, we just have like Cell again but pink, and I miss the actual first Majin Buu best character. I'm glad it does canonically end with him being rescued out of the brain of the other guy. Anyway, that's when I stopped watching Dragon Ball Z and I haven't seen Super or any of the later ones. Actually, I think there's one about superheroes that's grabbing me interest. Oh, don't say it's My Hero Academia, you're going to be disappointed later on. I'm warning you about the Grape Man. I'm warning you about the Grape Man. Another one I like when browsing around with them, the flavor text for the fridge is really funny. It's like, I don't really know how to operate it. From all my research, it seems that the only thing that happens when you plug it in is this little light goes on. So I've been putting all my cold food in it, but I don't know why it doesn't seem to be lasting any longer. This is really cute. How about the legend of the caterpillar that ate everything it could, threatening the very balance of life as we know it before finally pupating and hatching into a butterfly so big it became the sky. That was my favourite children's book as a child. I just really liked the art style, and of course I just love worm monsters. A fish who was forced by his peers to butcher himself for their approval with a supposed moral that is not only good but necessary. What was it, like the rainbow scalefish or something? That's one of my least favourite, most hated. Like, I also really disliked the Velveteen Rabbit as a kid because I just felt like it ended perfectly fine and then it just keeps on going and has a much, much worse ending. It should have ended at like, and then the Velveteen Rabbit realised that if someone loved him, he is truly real, and that's the real definition of real, rather than like arbitrarily like what the world tells you. But no, it just continues on and it's like, and because his child loved him enough to be real, he became really real and he left his child forever to go live with shitty ass real rabbits in that field whose only interaction with him in the plot so far has been them bullying him for not being real according to their definition. Now it's supposed to be a good thing that he goes off and they never apologise, they never tone anyway. It's just like, oh, I guess they were right to do it because he wasn't really real and now he's really real. He's like earned the right to be their normal friend. And he leaves everyone who loved him for who he already was for these people who would only like him if he looked a certain way, and I could never see it as a happy ending ever in my life. I cried so much. Like, whenever my grandma or my dad were like, let's read you the story again, I'm sure like I would like cry and beg not to be read the story because I hated the ending so much. Nobody would understand why I hated the ending. I couldn't articulate myself well enough to say why I hated the ending, so I hope you and the audience understand that. It really like fundamentally pissed me off. I could not think of anything except the horrible future that Rabbit must endure of like how much more these like real rabbits are going to impose on him. Like, that's what real rabbits do, this is what real rabbits do, you have to constantly conform to our expectations or we'll just stop being your friend at any given moment. And then he can never go back and see all the people who cared about him so much in the first place because you have to live in different worlds now. I hate it so much. I think I've knocked the recording slightly off. Sorry about that. You know what? Sorry, it's Velveteen Rabbit time. I'm not letting this go. When I was googling image references for this, I found like an analysis of like why you shouldn't really hate the ending. It has a deep meaning. It's supposed to be bittersweet. It represents that you have to give up things from your childhood when you become an adult, and like that's why it's happy that you lose your rabbit friend forever. And like I guess like he also has like symbolically adulthood. He has to go live with a bunch of complete strangers who are nothing but awful to him and like completely remake his life from scratch. See how this doesn't work as a metaphor for adulthood? This works more as like a metaphor of like I guess what I had to go through with my adulthood, and I wouldn't wish on anybody else. I had to like escape my abusive parents and like go into a homeless shelter at age 18 and like learn from scratch all these things about adulthood that weren't taught to me. I only survived because I was with like empathetic people who helped me and taught me things. This was such a fucking common moral in stuff at the time, was just this idea that like they would paint being an adult as like the most terrifying thing that all kids should be terrified of, and it's supposed to be positive. It's like when you become an adult you put away everything you ever loved ever before and you change completely and you have like completely different friends, and like if anyone is immature you shouldn't associate with them anymore. And it's just like when you're an adult you learn that this is entirely bullshit and there is nobody who will ever like say now you're not allowed to have toys anymore. It's only society that makes you yourself make that decision. Nothing bad happens from keeping your childhood cuddly toys like on a shelf. Really like artificially created idea that you have to put away literally every hobby whatsoever except like work and raising children. As an adult you can just find new ways to embrace like the same hobbies. You can find different hobbies which are similar. You can like expand upon it and grow to different things. Like as a kid I had cuddly toys. As an adult I learned how to make cuddly toys. I've learned how to sew. I've learned how to customize things. I've got like a whole arts and crafts like little mini table in my house. I still play video games. I like review them on the internet and make videos with my friends. I can do deep analysis. I can like hack into the game code. I can make my own fanfics and ideas. I'm trying to learn how to make Rpgmaker games myself. And literally nothing negative has ever happened for me from being immature about like scrunkly grandpas. I've had nothing but positive, literally nothing but positivity. I've made like countless friends. It's helped me come out my shell. It's helped me learn a bunch of different art forms and hobbies. It's helped me gain more confidence to socialize with people online. It's helped me gain more confidence to socialize with people in real life. Like I go to like my LGBT support group with my literal support worker talking about psychology, and they're like having a little cuddly toy that you carry on your keychain and you squeeze when you're having a panic attack and it helps you calm down is a good and medically approved like psychological strategy that is completely fine. To me, like I think the manifestation of like the moral that you have to become like a very specific personality in order to be like a good adult, I think people who have been forced to do it against against their will are kind of like trying to find a way to cope with it by rationalizing like it was necessary, it made me a better person. And you often get this from people who like were pushed to like grow up way too fast when they were young. People who do go through situations like me, like becoming homeless, having an abusive family, going through like, if anything, I acted like way more mature as a child than I do now. I engage in like childish hobbies as an adult. I'm reclaiming my lost childhood. And like kids in older times had a lot more of it. You'd have to start work early, you'd have to get married early. If the world itself is pushing this like unfair ideal on you that you do just have to like completely give up everything you ever hoped and dreamed for in order to become a productive adult, then you're going to like make up a story which like gives you morality points and says like you're a good person for doing what you were forced to do. I don't blame the person who wrote this book. They were clearly going through some shit. Apparently, like the original like olden times version of it had like the kid was like terribly ill with something. They had to have like all of their belongings burned, and that was why they had to be forced to like part with a Velveteen Rabbit. Like every other toy like was literally burned in the fire because they were infected with cholera, and the Velveteen Rabbit was the only one who escaped because he became real, and so he had to leave his entire life behind and go live with complete strangers because his whole house was gone. Understandably, they softened that a bit for the modern versions, but that just kind of like perverts the moral. It doesn't make any sense anymore. And even in the first place, it was just how to deal with a really bad hardship in your life rather than like this is the way everyone should be. I think this is the same reason I really used to hate the Jungle Book and the Neil Gaiman like the Graveyard Book. Any story where it's like the moral is at the end, this person, their found family of like magical or talking animals or unusual fantasy people, they have to like go back to the real human world now, and that's presented as like the good moral because like you're growing up and being mature, and no one ever acknowledges like it's not a good ending to go from like you have a happy family and a supportive life and like a roof over your head and like a meal tomorrow, to go to like you've been thrown into this whole world that you have no familiarity with, no idea what to do, and you're literally not an adult. You are just like you've just turned like puberty age, and that's like now being treated like an adult, and it's like off on your Todd, look after yourself now. And that's just, it's not a good moral, especially with how it's like it's treated as like you shouldn't live in escapism, but just the way that the whole world is framed doesn't make it make any sense as a metaphor for escapism. It's like you are literally leaving like the entire family you've ever known to go to a place that, as far as you knew, like was fictional up until 5 seconds ago. Like you don't know what the human world is. From your context, like the animal world is real reality. And also just like, why would saying goodbye to your family be part of not living in escapism? It's like you can't just make a metaphor for escapism with like real living people. In reality, when people like have difficulties like disassociation, psychotic symptoms, or just like simple escapism, it is like your family is here to support you and like to help you get back to the real world. They never give an incentive why you should want to live in reality. It's always just this idea that like the real world is just horrible and painful and cruel and you just have to deal with it. Unlike actual real adult life, which has like benefits, and like anything that's comforting and nice must be fake, and you have to just say goodbye to it all. And it's the way it's always associated with puberty too. Like as a kid, I was terrified of like gender essentialism that we apply to puberty in like kids media. This idea of like you're blossoming into a woman, your entire fucking personality will change because your parts are fully evolved, so your brain will magically change. I, as a kid, didn't know that's not really how it works. Not every single person spontaneously becomes super like traditionally feminine or traditionally masculine once they hit puberty. That's just a stereotype and not like a biological thing. Adult human beings have a variety of personalities too. Especially as a queer kid, being told like, oh, the way you feel about your gender isn't real, oh, the sexuality you think you have isn't real. Everyone when they hit puberty suddenly just loves being the most stereotypical woman ever, and like giving up on all their hobbies and dreams and settling down to raise a family and never having a career and wearing big floofy dresses. You will get the horn for men. You will suddenly want things shoved inside you and to become a baby factory. And no matter how much you think that you're not attracted to this gender, you will be attracted to this gender because biology will magically program you. And no person on earth has ever known their sexuality before the age of 18. Oh, you've hit 18, maybe just a late bloomer, let's go until 21. Oh, you're on 21, well, that's just barely out of teenage years. Oh, maybe by your 30s you'll finally understand, you'll finally be feminine, you'll finally want want sex. I've lived my whole life with people moving the fucking goalposts. It was so bad. Like, as a kid, I genuinely believed, like, once you hit the puberty age, you just die in your sleep and someone else walks away in your body. That's the only way I could comprehend the idea that my entire personality, everything I valued and loved and had pride about in, like, my own personality would just be gone. I couldn't imagine a situation where I would want to change because I liked myself, and then this made me not like myself. The only way it could happen is if just someone who wasn't myself was there, and I didn't understand why everyone was celebrating the idea of, like, replacing me with some uncanny valley clone. Of course, when puberty actually happened, I found out it was bad in a different way. I had, like, 5 seconds of, like, being grateful I didn't, like, magically die, and then, oh, this is what dysphoria feels like. So, that's a topic for another day. Anyway, in conclusion, I don't like morals for kids where the moral just boils down to being an adult means life sucks, get over it, you're never gonna get any help, because it's just not realistic to what adult life actually is. Like, yes, you do have to prepare kids that they will go through hard stuff, but going so hard on the moral like this just makes kids scared. It doesn't make them prepared, because you've literally told them, like, a false view of reality. Like, there are shitty things in the adult world, but people on a whole, like, will help each other. You'll still have friends, you'll still have, like, if you have a positive relationship with your family, you'll still have contact with your family. They don't just magically evaporate like Baloo. And if you don't have a good biological family, you'll meet, like, found family, close friends, people who support you later in life. If anything, I think my life has gotten, like, vastly less depressing since I stopped being a child. I know my experience isn't common, like, I just had a really bad childhood, but as a kid, being told, like, this is the best your life will ever get and it'll only be worse from here on, just made me even more suicidal. So I think we do need to kind of think about, like, the unintentional messages we send in, like, morality tales for children. People are like, oh, it's just for kids, don't think about it so much. If anything, we should think more about what we say to children, because children don't yet have, like, fully developed brains. They don't fully understand, like, all the nuance of, like, this isn't real, this is just a metaphor, and, like, this metaphor is maybe not complete. But anyway, a little off-topic tangent there. But this is the off-topic tangent game, so I hope you'll forgive me. Okay, I'm back, and as far as I know, I've clicked on everything available in the room, and nothing more has happened. There is no actual ending to the game, so I think it is just, you can look at as much as you want, you can have as much fun couple interactions as you want, and you can end whenever you feel like it. But then if you're watching this and you feel like, oh, Bondford missed something, they actually haven't seen the ending, feel free to tell me, I'll come back and play it again, because I don't want to leave anything out in this. I want us to be like a good, comprehensive review of everything. And I also want another hug. Yay. And so on this note, I think I'll give my final thought. It's really hard to rate this one because I personally really love the game, but I can also see the ways that a lot of other people wouldn't. But none of it is because it's a bad game anyway, it's just a very specific genre. Like, I personally really like visual novel-esque stories, like mixed with adventure game elements where it's just like a walking and talking simulator, and like just getting like a really good like character moment, expanding on the characters. And also, I just love listening to hearing my friends infodump about things even if I don't understand them. But logically, as like an impartial game reviewer, I do have to say, probably it's a niche project, and a lot of people who like more mainstream games would be like, oh, what's the point of just standing around the room and hearing characters talk about their personalities and then like, there's no real actual goal or ending? So I'm not going to log this as either a positive or a negative for the game, because for me, I'm really hyped and I love this kind of thing and I play this 1,000 times. But I can just walk out the road, pick up some random guy off the street and he'd probably tell me the exact opposite opinion. And I have to give this game like a reasonable medium rating because of that. Because I have to rank these games not only on just my personal enjoyment, but also just like how good they are as a whole and how would I recommend them to someone. I've had to be like that for a lot of games I've really enjoyed. In Stars and Time, can't get the #1 spot because of that, because there were genuine like gaming and pacing flaws. And there were other games that were more solid and had less of those flaws, even if the story overall didn't grip me as much. I gotta weigh out the different categories. But honestly, I think this just shows why Rpgmaker is so important. There is a genuine market for niche games, and I think if anything, people should be making more niche games because there's so few of them, and like even like The Thing, which has like the most niche, the least amount of fans, is still gonna be like over 100 people worldwide. There are millions and billions of people in the world. There is likely to be enough of an audience to play literally anything, and the problem is just finding them. So if you have a niche idea for a game and no one else has made it, just know that there are people out there who have been begging for that game to exist for like thousands of years, and you could be really making their day by making your vision come true. No matter how much you think no one else except me would love this, someone else will. Like me, maybe. Maybe be someone you haven't even met yet. Maybe you'll make new friends through his hyperfocus. Maybe you info dumping about your cool game idea will bring you all the joy that Rinosuke and Baront have had today. And Rpgmaker is especially unique and good for this because it is just such a basic tool that anyone can get into, and it's so customizable with so many different plugins and different art styles and different things that you can theoretically make almost any game idea with it. There's stuff on like this game marketplace which you cannot find anywhere else on Earth. And if that happens to be cute gay boyfriends talking about filing cabinets, then today is your lucky day. And also I want to give in the points that this game has been really good at like building up the personalities through the little bits of flavor text everywhere. How some of them were just purely funny, how some were like seeding plot foreshadowing for different things, seeding ideas of these characters. I feel like I've got a really good sense of who they are, even though I've never played any of the sort. This game is basically like advertised playing 50 other games. It's really got me into it. It's made me feel immersed and interested in the world, even though I haven't really played any of the world. I want to go out and try it. And it's also just, honestly, just such a serotonin inducer. I was looking forward to playing this game so much. I chugged like all the Coca-Cola, I've been hyping myself up all day. I was doing silly art and I was like, this will be the greatest thing to end the day with, and it was, and it was like everything I expected and more. And it inspires me so much to go out and try and make something like this myself someday. Now, personally, if it was me, I'm not quite so good at seeding foreshadowing like this. I might just do like, have a little bit more of an intro of like, this is who Dr. Snap is, or like, have like a designated NPC who stands around. Like, there's like the newscaster lady in the original game. I think like I would repurpose her as like, she stands there and like, she'll recap the events of the original game in like, funny little newsy ways to make it like, it's not just a blatant recap, but it is a blatant recap. And that could be there to like, make the game accessible to people who haven't played it. Unlike this game, which is accessible to people who haven't played it, but in such a more subtle way of people who actually know how to write really good. I would not trust myself to remember how to extract apart all these little plot elements and place them precisely around the room. I would totally forget stuff. Anyway, I think I've babbled up enough about why I love it here, and I'm going to pause and I'm going to go there are options in the title menu I didn't see saying who is Baront. That seems weird. I was explaining who is Baront and not who is Rinosuke, so I guess maybe this is made for specifically a Touhou game jam rather than a game jam combining the two games. That is a big info dump. I am going to have to knock a few points from that. Like, obviously I understand why this is just a bonus feature designed for like people who have played the game jam who would already know about Rinosuke as opposed to Baront and would need this info dump, but I personally would have enjoyed it more if it was actually in the game where there was like interactable and you would get this dialogue in like dialogue boxes, because it is a bit overwhelming when it's all put in one big screen like this. I am Baront, and when calling me just Baront, San is fine. A knight forged from the golden ingot of iron I am, in both name and reality, the ultimate tank. There should have been more punctuation there, I feel. I'm a delinquent, so I'm good at fights and even ride a motorcycle without a helmet. Also not to boast, but in a party I've been called the Ichiro of Vandeal. Oh, Ichiro like in Bleach. So is that why he's called a delinquent? He's based on that kind of archetype. I'm assuming that's a quote from the original thing it came from, because it's very noticeably spelled less correct than how Demo tends to talk. He's a braggart and a motormouth, infamous for his ridiculous ramblings, which are based on an IRL 2chan forum troll of the same name. So he's made based on an internet user, but then turned into a fan character, which was then turned into a video series, which was then became a comic, which then became a crossover with Touhou, which then became this fan art game, and now he's dating a cute boy, I think. He's also particularly notorious for having bad spelling, particularly of people's names. Oh, okay. Roll that back, it's not a flaw in any way. It was intentional that he doesn't have the punctuation at the end of the things. I guess a bit where like Rimu is not a separate character, that's just a misspelling of Rimu. I didn't pick up on that, so I will say that is the only thing so far I noticed that wasn't easy to understand if you didn't already know the character. It just didn't register that it wasn't like actual spelling mistakes. You can find more information on Touhou Wiki and TV Trope. I can read the comic. I turned the Iron of Yin and Yang into a comic because I felt like it, but Pavlon San, if you like feeling the pain of knowing a fan work you've enjoyed will never be finished. And then ironically this game also became that, alas. Okay, that helped a lot. It's undone several flaws about thinking about the bad spelling, but it's added next to flaws. That shouldn't have been the last option in the menu underneath quit, because most people would probably assume that quit is the last option, there's nothing underneath it. I went and asked Demo and got more info. The reason we only have this info section for Baront is because there's a Touhou focused jam and it was likely that people there would be less familiar with Baront. Demo wasn't confident in their ability to be able to scatter this info throughout the story like the other facts, worried that it might impact the game flow and sound too clunky, like, hello, person I already know, this is what your backstory is. They also intended to help make it easier to find by putting a screenshot of it on the itch.io page. I saw that when I was first like scrolling through and downloading it, but I was just like, presumably I will see this screenshot of a thing I haven't seen later in the game. It didn't have it pieced together, that would be somewhere hidden in the menu. But Bonus! Demo has found several extra dialogues that were supposed to be available in the game, but it seems because of some kind of errors with like hit detection, they couldn't go off. The first one is the ramp I did try and inspect. A pile of boxes sat against the door to Rinosuke's house. The wooden board propped against them is used as a ramp to climb the boxes to get to the door. Do you really use this? Yes, fairly regularly in fact. I'm fairly light, so I don't risk falling through the boxes. Something tells me that if I tried, I would turn into bones. Which makes me wonder if I could pick you up. A tank will carry the party, but in this case I wouldn't mind trying it literally with you. Oh wow, you're certainly strong enough probably, and I wouldn't mind, so maybe. I think it would be fun to try, even if it ends up not happening, but it's up to you if you want to or not, but I would quite like it. That's so cute! I can't believe you missed like a really quality, adorable bit of flirting. Next is the store. A short stool and a random box at the back near the wall. Some things are fairly simple when read by my ability. For example, a stool exists to be perched on. This tends to mean sitting, but some people will use them to stand on to reach higher places. Maurice used to sit on that stool and watch me work, though it doesn't happen as much anymore. Still, it's nice to have these nice memories to think back on, and I'm always having fun making new ones. That box back there is from when I moved into this shop. Some of it's mine, some of it's stuff I'm holding on to from Marisa. Haven't opened it for a long time, there's no point prying into old secrets. And then also you were supposed to be able to select the bed and get in for one specifically, but because Baronco is there, you just get Baronco's text. A bed, Baronco is lay on it. So we're missing a name tag on the first one, so it's not saying Baronco's saying it, so it would make sense if he was doing typos. I love how we've just created a world now where like an omniscient narrator exists only to talk about this one bed. That's the bed I use when I don't have the energy or desire to climb over to my door. It happens fairly frequently to be honest, but I lack a time and motivation to get this place better organised. It's Baronco's favourite place to be when we're here, so it must be pretty comfy. That's sweet! And now I'll quit and I'll go read the big info doc. And I'm going to babble even more about why it rocks with the official information of the creator.